All right, welcome everybody to week 5, day 1. Today we're going to be talking about landscapes, specifically how to make a cool material for a landscape. Right now you can see our landscape is just grass. For those of you that don't remember how to make a landscape to begin with, you go into landscape mode, shift 2, and you scroll down here and click create, and you pick I picked grass by default, and then you can do things like click and like kind of build mountains, and you can use alpha brushes, which is kind of fun. Like, let's make it a little bigger. See, you can see how it's like using a checkerboard pattern to raise the mountains out. Right? Kind of fun. Kind of fun. Kind of fun. Kind of complicated. There's one of the few things I've ever actually bought. It's called 100 Landscape Height Maps. I'm going to add that to fall 2022. I'm also going to add some flowers because, who doesn't like flowers? Landscape. That's actually pretty much what we're doing today. Let's see if we can find flowers. So many things. Flowers and plants. Remove local content. Let's just do that. And it's on an add to that. Okay. Also today there's some new content that is out. So the marketplace. One of the things is actually something I was considering buying. So yay. So if you go to free for the month on the marketplace, you can see that dynamic volumetric sky, which I had actually I have open in a browser right now. I was actually going to buy it. Is now free, and so that's pretty cool stuff. It actually creates realistic clouds and things like that. So that one you definitely want to purchase, quote unquote, purchase for free. Let's order. Thank you very much. And then the other stuff, of course, pick all the other stuff up for free as well. Free for the month, and it just flexible combat system. I don't know what that is. Scene Environment Mega Pack. That's pretty cool. Scan Labs Interior Volume 1. I have no idea what that means. Countryside Windmills and Barns. Why not? It's free. Let's buy it. And then we'll go to the cart here and check out. And then we will permanently own all that stuff. The only downside of that is you end up with a asset, because for whatever reason, like Epic doesn't give you the ability to like really organize the stuff that you've bought. It'll tell you like your stuff needs to update, and like it doesn't tell you which one. So you just kind of scroll through it and look for like wherever it says update, or like, yeah, like, okay, I don't know. So let's see if this search is going to work today. Let's search for flowers. Nope, search doesn't work. Cool. Billions of dollars of revenue, they can't get search to work. So, all right, let's do this together. See if you can tell me if you see flowers anywhere. Interactive open world foliage, maybe. Dense foliage. All right. Yeah, you look pretty good. All right, so add to project. We're gonna add that to fall 2022. Okay. So on a video, you can create your own skyboxes. Yeah, you can make them in Photoshop or whatever, but there's also just a lot that are available for download in places like Polyhaven that you guys were working on last time. Okay, so we've got flowers added to my project, and then I also added the page up and page down don't work either. It's fantastic. 100 landscape height maps, which again is one of the few things I've actually bought for reals. And what's neat about that is that we're doing texturing landscapes, right? Is that with that plugin, you can create realistic maps, craters, things like that. And so what you can do is tool strength a little stronger, brush size a little bigger. You can do things like that and actually create like realistic looking craters and indentations in the world, rather than, you know, having your stuff look like it's made out of, you know, jello, right? And then we can go over to cracks and just make a crack in the ground like that, you know? Okay, that might have been a little too much. I hit save. I meant to hit undo. Well, let's smooth it out, I guess. There we go. Crack. Let's try this again. Sculpt. Crack. Holding down shift, it's a little bit too strong, I think. There we go. So you put like cracks and indentations, and then mountains are my favorite, of course. So you can add some cool mountains to the world. And it creates kind of realistic looking mountains rather than the default tools, which create. I don't really like the look of this here. Maybe if we put some water in there or something, it might look better. I feel like an oxbow river. Smooth that out a little bit. Oh, a little too much smoothing. And so you can see, like, you know, just flat planes like that are kind of boring looking. Twister is probably a little too high. Smooth that out. Make the brush size bigger. Just kind of make some mountains. Switch the tool. Strength a little stronger. And there you go. You got some cool looking stuff. You can do it quite quickly, you know. But the trouble is, like, our mountains are still just all, you know, grass, right? So it looks kind of bad because everything we have here is just, you know, grass everywhere. These shadows. Yeah, these mountains don't look too bad. I would probably do another pass over, right over here. You obviously probably want your mountains to behave a little more realistically than what I'm doing here. Okay. Waiting for Epic Games to fix search. Did you guys make that, or did you find that? Because if other people are complaining about it too, I'm going to be happy it's not just something weird. Camera's trying to go to switch bar. I love it. Well done. Well done. Yeah, that was fast. Good job making that. Okay. It's astonishing how many things they could fix that they don't. Yeah. That seems to me to be like a thing. Like search should be useful, or the ability to like organize your assets into different directories. They do have like the ability to like turn on different categories and stuff like that. So just 2D assets, just animations, just blueprints. Not super useful though. Right? So like if I just want like grass, probably environments, maybe? I don't know. It'd be really cool though, like if I could just search for grass. That would be cool. Epic. Billions of dollars. Instead, you just get like kind of scroll around and look. Style is nature. Nah. Anyway. Okay. So what do you guys think of this this little landscape that I made here in like 3 seconds? rocks. Yeah, I like it too. Just trying to make sure there's no like super just flat areas where you could see that it was at one point like a flat plane. And remember, you can drop the contours too. That doesn't quite look right. It's kind of dramatic. I don't know. Maybe I'll leave that. It's kind of dramatic. Yeah, I'll leave that. Okay. So enough goofing around with the landscape itself. That's basically landscaping. So you switch in landscape mode, you make a landscape. You can sculpt and erase and smooth and flatten and stuff like that. I do have some high density noise over here, so I might hydro it a little bit. Make it a little more realistic looking. I mean, I kind of like the high density noise, maybe. I don't know. We'll see how it looks in a little bit. Anyway, so yeah, you can sit there and play around with that forever. But what we're going to do today is we're going to make a material for the landscape, so it's not just grass. Okay. So I'm going to come up here into Build, and I've already got my materials folder set up. So I'm actually going to drag these materials into here and all these things. Go into here. Just to keep my build directory nice and clean. And you could probably make an audio directory. Let's just go ahead and do that now. New folder called sounds and bruh. Put that in there. Okay. And then, I don't know, Dead Souls, you died, and go to materials as well. And then I could probably have like a widgets folder, UE folder. And then I usually tend to leave my blueprints up here, but I could make a folder for it too. Okay. How much is the asset on the marketplace right now? Good question. So it's called 100, 100 landscape height map things. Yeah, that would be another nice thing, like, show the price, that'd be neat. I don't know, you guys are gonna have to look that up yourself. I'll copy it. It's 15 bucks. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, but with it you can make really, really nice looking landscapes like pretty quickly, and you can of course just sit there and play with it forever. All right. So we are going to go into the materials directory, and we are going to make a new material, and this material is going to be called landscape mat. And landscape mat is going to be dragged onto select the landscape. Let's see here, where's landscape at? That's not landscape, that's landscape streaming proxy, because this is UE5. Where is landscape? There we go. So you can just search for landscape in the world outliner. And right here, we're going to select the landscape mat, save, and here we go. Okay, so we'll start off by just like making our landscape like, I don't know, pink or something, just to see, just to make sure it works. Or we're just going to have a hot pink landscape to begin with. This is the materials version of Hello World. Right, because UE5 changed how landscapes work. So let's, yeah, see, it didn't change anything here. It looks like each of these proxies has its own landscape. That's going to be super annoying to deal with, isn't it? Yeah. So each chunk of the landscape has its own thing. I wonder if we select all of these and do that. There we go. Okay. So what I did was I went to the world outliner and selected literally everything in the group. There's probably some select option here. But basically, yeah, you can just shift select all those things, and then I selected landscape material. You can do that a few different ways. You can go to the file browser here and pick landscape map from there. You can click on the thing over here and click on that, or you can drag the thing, like directly onto it like that. There's 3 different ways commonly done to set the material. So now we've got it's $40. Oof, yeah, $40 is pretty rough for just a bunch of black and white JPEGs, but it's nice. So here we have the hot toffee, taffy, candy world. I don't know. Our wrestlers are all, illumined into pink now. Bubblegum mountains, yeah, it looks kind of garbage. So, like I said, that's why I usually start with that, because like when I set it on the landscape, that would have worked in UE4 and UE5. You've got these streaming proxies things here because they do what's called level streaming by default now. It used to be an optional setting. I did it so that when it didn't work, I could see it didn't work, right? This is something that I reiterate a lot to my students, which is that you have to really incrementally work on these things. You can't just like look at the final product and just recreate all of it and then it like doesn't work. Like you have to like start with like, I'm going to make a new material. I'm going to make it bright pink. I'm going to put it on the landscape and oh shoot, it didn't work. Right. And then you need to figure out why. Okay. So once you got that, then we can start going. So of course we can make this a metallic bubblegum mountain. Actually, we're not gonna do bubblegum at all, but I do want to kind of see what this is gonna look like. So compile, please. Thank you. There we go. It's kind of cool looking. Not all what we're gonna end up with, but it's kind of cool. Okay, so what I want to do is I actually want to create a landscape that has 2 or even 3 different textures on it that are chosen based on how sharp the landscape is. Okay, so like I want the flatlands to be like grass. I want the sharper area to be like dirt, and the sharpest areas to be like rock. Okay, and then later on I might add like a snow layer for the highest peaks and things like that. So if that hurts your eyes, Samantha, I'm sorry, it's going to get worse. So I'm going to make another color here, and we're going to start off with, I don't know, what's the neon green? Let's go with neon green. The most absolute clashingest color I can think of here. One evening as the sun went down, the jungle fire is burning, down the track came. Interesting. If an LP pond shoots was nice. Wait, is the material just material? Yeah. Yeah. So step 1 is just right click and make a new material. And so this is just a material, and I've applied it to the landscape. Yeah, if you want, we could texture sample. You know it's coming. What was the name of it? Texture there. So I have this guy selected here. I come here and click that. Now that is some 1990s video game era textures right there. And of course we can attach a panner node to this. There we go. Here comes trouble. Okay. So anyhow, where was I? Yeah, it's not all I was trying to do. Okay. What I wanted to show you, and we're not going to have it be metallic either. Okay. What I wanted to show you is how you can have the landscape choose between 2 different textures when the landscape is flat versus sharp. And what you're looking for is a specific node called landscape. No, sorry. Was it world aligned blend? Yeah, there you go. So a WAB node or world aligned blend node is going to take in landscape layer coordinates. That. And we are going to lerp between the two of them. That. And the alpha connects to alpha, and you connect into there. And sharpness, I'm going to right click on sharpness and promote it to a parameter. I'm going to default the value to like -5. And it's going to range from like, I don't know, -50 to +50. And for the bias, what does bias mean? What does sharpness mean? Nobody knows, but it's provocative. So blend bias gets promoted to a parameter as well. So what I'm doing is I'm just right-clicking on the pen and choosing promote to parameter. And blend bias is going to default to like 15. Why 15? Who knows? Okay, who knows, honestly. Who knows? So okay, let's see how that works. Okay, so everything's green now. All right. Let's see. What I'm going to do, I think the world line blend, okay, or the landscape coordinates in there. It's been a while since I've done this. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to close out landscape. And we are going to right click on it and create a material instance. This is what we did last time. And so this is going to allow us to landscape mat instance. And so this is what's going to allow us to adjust those values in real time. So again, I'm going to select all the landscape and I'm going to pick the material instance now, and you'll see nothing changed. The reason why nothing changed is because it's the same for now. But now we can open that up and we can adjust the bias and the sharpness. And maybe I have those backwards. Maybe that should be -15. That should be 15. Something like that. The numbers don't really mean anything. You just kind of have to play. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Yeah, there we go. So you just kind of play with those numbers until you get values you liked. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to snap this off. And actually, I'm just going to put it down here. Okay. So I'm going to drag these values up and down. And you can see that as I drag it up and down, the values that work are in a fairly narrow range. Like at -7, it's all pink. And at like -3, it's basically all green. So you have between like -3 and -7. And what those numbers mean, it probably feeds into some mathematical equation somewhere. But there you go. So between -3 and -7, so like -5. That's here. -5, -6. And so you just kind of play with these numbers. -4.5. And we'll say that the pink area is going to be like the cliff face, maybe. So the reason why I do these bright colors is so you can actually like literally see like where everything is, and then you can switch them out for texture later on. So we're going to have the pink be like rock face for now. Looks pretty good. And then the blend sharpness, I'm going to change it to 10, all pink, 20, all green. So again, you have a very narrow range where these things actually work. 11, nope. 12, nope. 13, nope. 14, maybe. 16, almost certainly bad. 17, pretty horrible. So maybe like 15, 15.5, something like that. And if you're like, wait, how are you supposed to know that? It's like, well, you know, I don't know. It's not clearly, it's not entirely clear to me exactly how you're supposed to be coming up with these numbers. That's why you create a material instance like that. So again, what I did was from the landscape material, I promoted sharpness and bias to parameters, and so I think I have these backwards. So that one defaults to 15, and we'll have it range from like 0 to like 30, so it has a tighter range for the bar. And then bias is like -5 by default, and it'll range from like -15 to 0 maybe. So we'll save that. And then that'll make it easier to track these values up and down. Yeah, see how it's not jumping like immediately. Like before, it's like jumping from yellow to green and stuff like that. But if you tighten the values for the minimum and the maximum on the slider, then you get a little bit more precision when you drag it around like that. So I could tighten it up further, but this is pretty good. And so again, the purple areas are going to be rock face. So once you get it to a point where it's kind of like looking about where you think rock faces should be, then we're good. And we hit save. Okay. And then we're going to come back into the master material here, and we're going to switch out the horrendous pink and the horrendous green for actual textures. And so I'm actually not, I could use a texture sample here, but I'm actually going to use a texture parameter. And so the texture parameter will allow me to switch out the actual pictures that are on the landscape if I want to in the future. So this is going to be like landscape texture 1, and you feed into there. And the landscape coordinates feed into the UVs like that. UVs are, again, how you take a picture and project it onto the world. And landscape coordinates are the right way of doing that. Now, I could copy and paste this, but I'm not. Don't ever copy and paste a parameter in Unreal Engine until they fix that bug. So I'm going to do another texture parameter 2D. And you are going to be called landscape text x2. And you're going to feed into you, you're going to feed into you, and you're going to feed into you. And the default texture here is going to be basalt, maybe diffuse map, okay. And landscape chords feed into here. So this is kind of what it's going to be like, all right? So what you're going to have is landscape coordinates feeding into 2 different textures so that they map properly on the landscape and they don't get weirdly stretched and things like that. And then I'm just going to start off with like basalt and like grass. And then these feed into a lerp node, and the lerp is going to use the sharpness and bias and landscape coordinates to pick whether it's going to be rock or grass that is drawn here. And then we can do the same thing for the normal map. So we can come down here and say texture parameter 2D, and this will be landscape normal 1. And I picked basalt for that up top, so I'm going to pick basalt in the normal map down here. And one more texture parameter 2D, and this one is going to be called landscape normal 2. And because all these things are parameters, that means I can change them later. So this is going to be grass normal underscore n. There we go, ground grass. And landscape coordinates feed into all the UVs. And then again, we're going to have a lerp node that is going to use the WAB node here, the world align blend node, to pick which one. Oh yeah, you can't do that one. Vector normals for that one. Okay. And the reason why that doesn't work is because this is creating normals, and the normals can't use the normals that are created. So it would be an infinite loop kind of thing. And so there we go. It's looking pretty good. We got a problem, which is that it's tiling, but I think you can see that the landscape at least is kind of starting off looking pretty good. Like at least as far as like you know, what areas should be rock, what areas should be green, and things like that. What do you guys think? I can show you how to do a third one too, if you want. Do you want to learn how to add a third layer in, or do you want to make it not horrible? Megan votes for a third one. Okay. It's going to be the same process again. So let's unselect. Okay. So we'll come back into the landscape material, and we are just going to do a little bit more. So right click and escape. Jumping out of myself. Texture parameter 2D, and it is annoying not being able to copy and paste these things, isn't it? And you're going to be called landscape text 3. Now you might be like, well, wait, lerp only takes 2 parameters. That's right. So we're going to have another lerp. And so the output of one lerp is going to go into the third lerp, and we're going to have another roll-to-line blend with 2 more parameters controlling its blend and sharpness. So for now, I'm just going to pick something horrific for landscape texture 3. Let's see if I can just find something that, yeah, that pink thing there looked perfect. Where'd it go? Yeah, we'll just go that. It's actually a normal map, but it'll be jarring. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the output of one lerp feed into the second lerp. And then we're going to lerp the lerp. And we're going to need another WAB node as well. So I'm running out of room. So we're going to duplicate you. And we're going to make 2 more parameters, but I can't copy and paste them, remember, because it would barf. So I'm going to just rename this one blend sharpness 1 and blend bias 1. I'm going to promote these guys. Hello. Right click, right click. Are you not letting me click on you? Huh. It's not letting me click on the pen. All right, well, I'll just do a parameter. What's it called? Scalar parameter, and you'll be called blend sharpness 2. Look up the landscape coordinate to here. And we'll make one more scalar parameter named blend bias 2. And we'll have this one default to 15 as well. And we'll have you default to -5 as well. Okay. And then the output of this alpha is going to come into here. Okay, so we have kind of like two cascading lerps. So the first one, based on the sharpness, it picks between rock and grass. And then for the next one, it's going to pick between the results of this one and neon blue. So probably if I did this for realsies, this would actually be dirt. And then this would be grass. So let me just switch that up right now. So let's do gravel moss. Moss is good. Okay. And then for this one, we'll do grass. And then we'll need one more down here as well. Texture parameter 2D. And this is going to be called landscape normal 3. And so the second guy, I'm switching over to moss _n. And then landscape normal 3 is going to be grass _n. And we're going to lerp the lerp So the output of U goes into here. And yeah. And then that goes into the normal map. Okay. So this whole giant like spider web of stuff going on here is really just picking between three textures based on their sharpness. So I'll put this onto lerp. Yeah, you have to say lerp like that every time. Like nobody sounds intelligent when they say lerp. Okay. Oh, I forgot to hook this one up too. No. Screenshot that one more time for you with all the things hooked up correctly. Okay, I'll delete the other one on chat. Okay. So, delete you, and there we go. Okay, so what's happening here is it's basically the exact same thing we had before, except instead of picking between two, it's picking between three. And so if we go into the material instance, we can save you. Save all. Material instance, there we go. Okay. Huh? This is the old one. Why does it not have? Oh, you don't notice? Okay. Let's delete you. Can't delete you. Why aren't you updating with the newest stuff? That's a parameter. Blend sharpness 2. None of the stuff is updating in here. Save sibling, save child. Alright, well, let's just see if we can do a new instance. Create material instance. And we'll call this like landscape mat inst 2. No, it doesn't have it either. Huh. Huh. Oh. So saved but didn't apply? Okay. How many times did I hit save on you? Oh, Lord. Okay, you're saved. Okay, now you're appearing. Oh. Okay. All right, so let's snap this down here, and let's mess with it. So we'll turn on these things here, and let's take a look. Okay, so we got some grass, got some rock. I'm going to drag this value up and down here. So you can see some of the moss, which is kind of a more brown color coming through. Doesn't look too bad. That one's bad. It's pretty good, I think. So you can see we have grass here. We have moss kind of in the interstitial areas, the liminal areas, and then rock here. Okay, and then the blend. Let's just try a couple different values. 16, no, 14, 14.5. That looks pretty good. Okay, so I think it looks garbage, right? It looks pretty garbage. But what we're doing right now is we're just trying to make sure that it's going to pick the right material at the right place. You know, so the steeper areas are rock, the kind of medium areas are kind of moss, and then the ground flat areas are the flat area on top here. You got grass edged by moss, then rock. So I think it's looking pretty good here. Okay. Now everything's shiny, everything's all tiled to help. So let's fix that. Okay. So I think these numbers are pretty good. Let me put those up into the chat as well, so you can copy those rather than having to kind of guess. But it's probably good for you to guess. I don't know. You know, like that process of just like dragging things up and down and just kind of eyeballing it and kind of like getting a feel for like what works and what doesn't work. That's a valuable skill that all of you should have. The trouble is, like, I'm just kind of worried that some of you are just not going to be able to find the values, because why would you guess -5? You know, like you go more than like a few integers in any direction, just like nothing works. So it's one of those things where, you know, probably having a little bit of guidance is a good idea. You can see inside of here, there's actually grass on the flat areas, which is pretty cool. So it's actually using the normals of the rock to actually put grass on it, which is pretty cool. Okay, I guess you could say it's pretty valuable. It's crushtastic. Okay, so I don't think we need you anymore. Delete. Goodbye, WWF rock. You served us well. Okay, and so here, it's like a weird blending of, because it's using the actual normals, and so you have this weird mix of like rock and grass, and moss. It doesn't look especially good, but anyway, we're gonna fix the tiling issue at least. So you see how everything's all tiled? Before we had that master material, we had the micro macro texture variation. Right now we just have a texture, right? We don't actually have the material. So you can see that the same square is repeated over and over and over and over again, and it looks really, really bad. Okay. So do you guys concur that this is pretty garbage looking? Not awesome, yeah. And so what we want to do is we want to actually import the material, not just the texture. So what we're doing right now in our master material here is we're actually just importing the texture. Texture is just a 2D picture, and we're just repeating it over and over again. What we actually want is to have that texture variation from the grass and from the moss and from the rock, so that you don't get those obvious tiling patterns like that. You're a fan? Yeah, I mean, it depends what kind of game you're going for, but to me, this looks pretty garbage. So, yeah, you turned off all foliage and stuff like that. Yeah, it's low graphic settings. So what we want to do is just import an entire material into here, not just a texture. And so, you know, a lot of students try this, right? Like, you know, they've got some sort of material, like the Frank Ocean material, you try dragging in. Oh, but look, you can't. Unreal Engine does not allow you to import a material into another material. You can, but there's steps you have to go through, which is annoying. So let me show you the steps, because what we want is really to import 3 different materials and then go from there. And so we're going to stop on this part for a second. We're going to come back to it. But I'm going to show you how to import a material into another material first. So snap that up there. So our materials we're using are basalt, moss, and grass. So if we come down into starter content, materials, let's do grass first, I guess, and double click on it, you can see that you got this whole, you know, texture variation, gradients. Like there's a lot of cool stuff they do in here to make it look nice. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of it, but not the final node. You see that? I'm selecting everything except for you right there. Okay. And I'm going to hit Control-C to copy. So I'm copying everything except for the actual output node here. And if you're like, wait, this is really janky and weird, and why does Unreal Engine make you do that? Yeah, I don't have a good answer for you. I really don't. It's to me just one of those things like, why? Why don't you let me just drag a material into another material? Why do you make me go through this stupid process? So we're going to make something called a material function. And so we're going to right click. I went back into the build directory, and I right clicked and choose new material function. Okay. And I'm going to call this one grass mat function. and you zoom out, paste, and there's all our stuff, okay? Except nothing's hooked up right, and this doesn't seem to be doing anything. And so what you have to do is you have to drag out from the output result and create a node called make material attributes. And now you've got to wire up everything by hand like it was in the grass node. So this feeds into base color, this feeds into, I don't know what that fed into, let me go back. And you have to rewire up everything the way it was. And if you're like, wow, that's super janky, yeah, it is. It's dumb. It's really dumb. So we're going to come back in here. So they have one hooked up to roughness. So I'm going to hook up the one to roughness, and this lerp node connects to here. Fortunately, the good thing is there's usually only a couple wires they actually have hooked up, so the normal map's probably out of the lerp down here, yeah. And so the normal map is going to hook up to the lerp over here, and that's it. So basically, the secret is when you make a material function, it's going to create this thing called an output result, and you have to create the node called make material attributes, and then that feeds the result into that. And then so step 1, copy. Step 2, paste into a new material function. Step 3, make material attributes. Step 4, hook everything up, save. And now we have the ability to import into my landscape material. But I'm just going to repeat this process a couple times because I also have to do it for moss, and I also have to do it for basalt. So I'm going to come back over into here. Moss, zoom out, select everything except for that output box there, copy. This time I'm not going to close it in case I need to refer to it again. Materials folder inside a bill, right click, new material function, and this one's going to be called moss mat function. Again, the names don't really matter too much. Pull out from here, make material attributes, line them up, and come over here and hit paste. Around a little bit. Okay, and then this one is going to go into base color. Okay, I need to check what this is hooked up to. So this lerp goes into roughness, this lerp goes into base color, and this lerp goes into normal. Lerp base color, lerp into roughness, and lerp into normal. Like I said, the good news is there's usually only about 3 wires that you have to copy that way. And then we're going to close that out and repeat one more time. We are going to make a basalt material function. There is basalt. Basic. No, you're basic. Okay, so double click on you. Select all of you except for the output node. Control C. Come up into the bill folder, materials. I'm going to make a new material function again for the 3rd time. And this one will be called basalt mat function. What we're doing is we're essentially copying and pasting the material, but putting it into something called a material function. Material functions can be imported into materials. Materials can't be imported into materials. It makes no sense to me, but that's just how, they thought, material attributes, there you go. That's just how it is. So you can import a material function, and you can make a material function quite easily by copying and pasting material. Why they don't just automate this process is beyond me. Okay. I'm just going to guess you're going to go into normal, and you're probably going to go into not normal. Sorry, you're not normal at all. You are probably roughness also. Yeah, okay. Roughness, and there we go. So that sort of annoying and tedious process is now done. Now, how do we import it? Okay. Snap you over here. So we're going to import grass material function. Look, I can drag it in now. I can drag in the grass material function. You can't drag in the grass material, but you can drag in the grass material function. And it's literally just copied and pasted. I think it should do it for you automatically. You tell me. So I'm going to drag in the grass material function, the moss material function, and the basalt material function. And there you go. Now they're imported. Cool. Thanks, Unreal Engine. Super neat. Honestly, it's one of my least favorite things about Unreal Engine. So the fact that like that, and it's not like, you know, there's a good reason for it. Aligned left, and there we go. Everyone's lined up, and here we go. Okay. So, how do we use these things? Okay. You know how we had make material attributes? Now we're going to break material attributes. So we're going to do a break material attributes. And this is going to give you all the stuff in the basalt material. So this is all this stuff in the basalt material. And so you can copy over the base color, the normal map, the roughness, whatever you want. And so anything that's in the basalt material, you can just pull out from here. So we're going to get rid of the texture here. We don't need you anymore. Instead, we're going to just drag out from the base color into here. And if we just do that, and you'll see we are no longer tiling on the basalt. Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool, gamers. Yeah. Neat. Yeah. Pretty cool. And now we're going to do the same for the moss. So moss, we're going to drag out from here and do a break material attributes. We're going to need some more room somewhere. Over here, maybe. These things do take up a lot of room. Yep. And so instead of the moss texture, we're going to drag out the moss color here. And then for the grass material function, great. Material attributes, got to show the moss some love. Yeah. All right. And then instead of the grass texture, so we're going to grass material. There. And now, if we save that, you can see no more tiling. You got the mossy area over here, you got the grass over here, and then you can play with the different values to make these things look a little bit better. It's still a little bit too shiny, right? It's still a little too shiny. And the normal maps are all screwed up as well. So we can fix that as well. So the shininess is going to be the roughness coming out. So let's see here. We need to feed into the roughness. So we're going to basically do the same thing as this. Copy paste. And the roughness goes into A here. Roughness goes into B here. The alpha goes into alpha here. The alpha goes into here. And the roughness goes into the roughness here. And that goes into here. Save. Oh, shoot. I didn't have that. There. So, I really would like to tidy this up a little bit. Just comment this. This is going to be base color. Roughness. And this part here is normal. And so the normal map we also need to do. So rather than U, we're going to use the normal map out of the basalt function. There. And rather than U, we're going to use the normal map out of the moss function. And rather than U, we're going to use the normal map out of the grass function. And I don't know if I can organize these any better way. This is not my happy face. All these wires are kind of flying everywhere. So we got our three materials. We got our basalt, our moss, and our grass. And then they get lerped between based on the WAB nodes here. These are the parameters that control the WAB nodes, and then the results of all the lerping goes into our three main outputs up here. It's like small enough, like it's almost impossible to see. Okay, let me show you what this looks like at the end of the day, though. So you got a screenshot on Discord. It is in 4K resolution. You might be able to zoom in on it. Okay, so here we go. So we've got like a decent looking grass here. We got like some. See how the rock is shiny, right? But like the moss and the grass isn't. That's pretty cool, right? And we got some moss over here, some grass here, some grass growing on the cracks here. You can see the normal map is all looking pretty good. Yeah, so I'm going to say, like, as a first pass, not too bad. Not too bad at all. Okay. And then I can double click on the landscape material instance. And I can adjust these values, -7, -8, put more moss in, you know. And that's all moss, basically. -7, 6, -6.5. Add a little bit more moss highlighting, I guess. You can control the thickness of the blends and things like that. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you want more rock or less rock? So here's more rock, less rock. All rock. Heavy rock. You like this one more? All moss now. It's more like Fresno. More green. So do you guys like it more green like that, or do you like it more brown like that? What do you think? It looks like Fresno. What's cool is that as you kind of like smooth out things, brush size, as you like smooth out, do you see that? Like I'm in the landscape tool now. like as I like do stuff, you can see the landscape actually updates, and so like I can actually sculpt and add like cliff, you know, that's in rock, and you can see that it just applies everything automatically, right? It's pretty cool. Smooth it down a little bit. Yeah. Okay. I think that's looking pretty good. You can see the moss has, I think they added a Fresnel effect, which causes it to kind of glow white when you look at it from the side, which is pretty cool. Right. All right. Not bad. Not bad. Pretty cool, gamers. All right. So there is your landscape master material. And I've posted onto chat a tutorial that I found that kind of runs you through those steps. Caught in 5000 Ultra HD. All right. Okay. So what else needs to be talked about? It's a little strip of. I don't know if I like that or not. It's a little unrealistic looking, you know. Black Pit of Doom. And there's lots of other things you can do. We could probably talk about landscape layers and having grass and stuff like that appear automatically. We can also add an underwater area over here. You can add like a physics volume for swimming and stuff like that. What do you guys want to see? Do you want to see how to like? You can also spray paint layers on here. It's like if you want to have a road texture, you can like spray paint a road, like world building a road. Do you want to learn how to do that? Water? Of course. Go. You want to learn all the things. Yeah, I mean, it's fair. You know, it's only one semester. There's a lot of things in game development too. This class is sort of by necessity a survey class. Like, there's absolutely no way you can even hit you know, at a superficial level everything that needs to be talked about to make a game. All right, yeah, let's do that. Let's do layer painting. Let's see if I remember how to do it. Edit layers. Manage. Okay. All right. You can delete chunks of the landscape. So if you want to delete the landscape, you can do that in an entire chunk like that. You can actually have more fine-grained control over your landscaping. You can actually have the landscape material cut out chunks of the landscape, so you can build in like caves and you know, underground arches and things like that if you want. Big fan of water. Paved Paradise, put up parking lot. I know the song you're referring to. So yeah, okay, let's do that. One thing to keep in mind is that when you created your landscape, you had to turn on edit, enable landscape layers. And I think if you didn't do that, over here, search for landscape. Click and enable edit layers. That one, that has to be turned on. Okay. Okay. So, landscape materials, and we're going to add in 2 layers. So, the first layer is going to be our auto material. This gargantuan monstrosity. Okay. And then the second layer is just going to be like a road or something like that you can like kind of spray paint on the world. And that's very useful if you're building like a settlement. And a settlement, you typically want to have a road connecting them, if for no other reason, to guide the players like where the next point of interest is. It's very important that people don't just wander around completely clueless. A lot of times you want to have roads or like have a giant water tower so people can see it in the distance, things like that. Glowy red water, lava. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a landscape layer blend like this. And so the landscape layer blend, let's see. Layers, add a couple layers. Okay. What feeds into that? Right, okay. So you are going to go into here. And you are going to be called auto material. That's a semicolon. And your default layer is the first one. And then, so it's important that you make your super cool material that one. And the second one is going to be called like road. And okay. And so we're going to, for now, I'm just going to use a texture. I'm going to do a full material function import later, but I just want to get this to work. So we get some dirt or something, gravel maybe. Okay. Here. There. Now, when you set up layers on your landscape, a lot of times everything breaks and it turns black like this. Okay. And the reason for that is because Unreal is fairly dumb. And so what happens is you have to make the layers. Let's see, landscape mode and target layers. Let's see. File, save all. Select, switch back in. Manage layer. Paint layers. Yeah, one of the annoying things, it doesn't propagate the layers. It breaks everything, and then it's supposed to give you an option for creating the layers, and it's not. So close this, save all, select, click on something, back. That's annoying. 1 second. All right, so I quit out of Unreal Engine and relaunched it, and now the layers are appearing. This is a bug that's been in Unreal Engine for a long time, where you create layers, and you can see that they propagated the names, right? Auto Material, Road, and it breaks everything, and they don't appear here. And so one way you can do it is to clear the, another way I could have done that would be to take the material off and put the material back on, and then it appears. Other ways you can just close out of Unreal Engine and relaunch it. I don't know. I don't know why it does it. Okay, so let's get this out of the way here. Okay, so here we go. So we have the auto material here and that. So the reason why everything's broken is because we created what's called a weight blended layer, and we don't actually have any weights, and so it just draws it as black, letting you know there's an error. So if I hit that and hit save, contains one of the invalid names, a space. Okay, fine. You get to be an underscore also. Hit save, and then on this one you hit the plus also, and hit that, and hit save. Then it works. Okay, so then hit save all, because these things here are basically going to save which areas of the map you've spray painted a road on and which ones you haven't. And so step one, in order to get the ability to put roads into the world, roads into the world, you have to go into landscape mat, and are you still buggy? Okay. You make a layer blend, you click plus twice, which creates 2 layers. You name the thing, and name the thing, and then clear the material off the landscape, reapply it to the landscape, or just quit out of Unreal Engine and relaunch it, and then the materials will appear here in landscape mode. And you have to click the little plus and just hit save, and then you're good to go. So now, how do we paint? So I'm going to click on road here, and I'm going to paint, and I'm going to make the brush size a little bit bigger, and I'm going to just have a little road leading off, I don't know, around the hill over here. Okay, so I'm just going to paint this here. You see how the road's appearing on the map there? Just going to have it go around here and down here, and it's going to have a little area over here. And depending on the strength, you can see it starts off as fairly faint, and if I keep clicking, it'll become a stronger and stronger road. Okay. You can see the horrible tiling in it because I didn't import the entire material. Because you can't import the entire material because of the pain. It just imported the texture, but you can see I have now spray painted a road on the map. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And over here it's a little bit subtle, and then over here it starts to get a little bit more pronounced and visible. Okay, same guy that did the search bar. It's fine. All right, so let's, I guess, just make this look better. I'll just go through the process one more time of importing a material function. So I'm going to go over here into materials and search for the gravel pit. It's a Wu-Tang reference. Okay. We're going to select all of this. Copy. Close, because I too like to live dangerously. And I'm going to right click, new material function, and I'm going to call you road mat function. Over here, paste, drag out from you, and choose make material attributes. Base color gets hooked up to base color, roughness gets hooked up to roughness, and normal gets hooked up to normal. And there we go. Save, close. You can see how excited I am by this process. I'm highly, highly excited by it. And then instead of you being a texture sample, we are going to import the road mat function into here. And you here, we're going to do break material attributes. So this is our gravel. And the base color is going to feed into layer road. And the result of that goes into base color. And we're going to do the same layer blend for roughness and the same layer blend for normal. So this blending was done automatically using the normals of the world to pick from: cliff, moss, grass. What this layer blend here does is it uses where the user has spray painted the road to pick between whether you want to use the auto material or the road. And so we're just going to Control D, duplicate it, and we're either going to use the auto material here, or we're going to use the roughness from you. That's roughness. And then Control D, duplicate, and we will line them up to the left, which they were already. Good job. All right. So you're going to go into auto material, and this normal comes into this one, into normal, and save. Okay, now everything's black. All right, cool. All right, so here, now you can see that we're actually getting, the macro texture variations. The gravel is now appearing not as a tiled set of pictures, but as an actual thing. The roughness is correct for it. The normal map is correct for it. So everything's good to go, and we can just sit here and just paint more roads to our heart's content. A little clearing over here. Just click a little bit. It'll blend a little bit in. So you can kind of feather it out a little bit if you're into that kind of stuff. And then, basically people can be like, I wonder what's over here. Make this a little stronger. And then they'll walk over here, and you might have like an observatory over the valley or something. I don't really have a story for this role. Skating ring through Rocky Mountains. Yeah. And you can add as many layers as you want. That's kind of a fun thing to do, is just to so you can sort of spray paint, like this area is a meadow, and this area is a forest, and this area is a clearing. And when you spray paint it, then you can have that chunk be that material, and then just everything that's not spray painted be the auto material by default. And you can have your auto material be as complicated as you want, basically. Another way of doing this would be to have the auto material not have the layers in it, and just have them make it a material function. And then you could kind of hide all this mess here inside of a material function. That's an option as well. Collapse nodes. Collapse nodes. There we go. Oh, I didn't get the comment. Oh, it's going to crash. It's going to crash. It crashed. Well done. Epic Games covering themselves in glory today. I collapsed the nodes so that it would be a little bit tidier, So if you have a big mess like that, you just collapse them down, and then you can double click on the collapse node to look at the mess again. But Unreal Engine was like, no, can't do that. Let's reopen. Hopefully we didn't lose anything. Oh, shoot. That whole thing's gone. Oh my gosh. Unreal Engine. No. All that's done, but we lost the layers over here, I think. No, these are still here. Okay, so let's just make it a little bit bigger and spray paint some road on it. Okay. Again. Brush fall off. I'm going to give it a wider fall off so that it looks better. There it is. It's going to be like a little dirt area. Click a little bit, which will blend the different areas together. You see how you can see some of the grass is sticking through here. After 2. So now I'm going to hit save all. Unreal. Killing me. All right, come over here. Let's play the game. It's running. Let's see, we got our road over here. That, I can probably clean up a little bit. And I got a little dirt area. Okay. You can see the macro texture variations working just fine. Looks a little weird having the dirt up the sides here, but yeah, whatever. Okay. So if I want to clean that up, I'm going to landscape, painting, auto material, and I'm just going to paint the auto material over here. And that removes the road from the this is all under the paint tab. Okay. Put road on the top of the mountain if I want. And that's actually kind of useful in areas like this where like I kind of don't like the that grass on the top of the thing there. Pull the tool down a little bit. I don't know if that's any better. I'll work with that for now. Okay. File, save all. There we go. So that's how you can do that. Yeah, I tend to just work in the same world. I don't really have any particular vision as to where I'm going with this. I'm just demoing different things in it. If I were to sit down and actually build a world, I probably wouldn't have big fully or whatever that is. You know, on the side of the thing, surrounded by sentry guns with a vaccine cure in it. There is no thematic consistency in my world right here. Okay. All right. So let's talk about grass as well. So, landscape grass output here. Guess we need one. So, so what would be nice is if we could have the game sort of automatically generate grass for us. And we can do that using a grass output node. And you're gonna have to rewatch this lecture. Yeah. Is there anything in particular that you want me to go over again real fast? So you could use the foliage tool, right? Like you can always go into foliage and make some foliage here, and open world foliage and meshes, and got a whole bunch of these grasses here. Add all of you to here. These are static meshes, not foliage types. Okay. What's your question, Dino fan? I'm clicking on this. Okay, so it made foliage assets out of our static meshes, and how many of us actually did in real time rewatch the recordings? Yeah, when I teach this class in real life, typically I try to do something that I walk around the classroom and make sure that people can do it. Um, I'm kind of assuming that you are maybe following along with some of it, but also this is a reason why it goes up on YouTube, so you can rewind and see if you missed anything and redo it. Okay, so the foliage stuff here. Just gonna drag these over into here, and then you can add as many or as little foliage things you want, and you can just click and drag, and look, there's flowers. It's beautiful. Yeah. Pretty cool, right? The flowers are set not to grow on really steep surfaces. So there you go. Now it's a lot more vibrant and lovely and stuff like that. I actually kind of like it, honestly, but I'll undo that. All right, see you, Quibus. Yeah, yeah. I kind of like it when you're trying to do things in real time. So if you have a question, you can ask me immediately. So you can see all these different flower types are in there, and let's see if I can make this a little bigger. So if you spray paint things, you can see it counts how many of them appear. And there's options for like density and things like that. So you can like turn the density down a little bit. There you go. Then it's not quite so overwhelming. Probably is a little easier on your frame rate as well. And then we could erase foliage off the platforms like this. And then if you hit play, it's a lot more interesting. This one, it's got grass growing out of it. It's fun. Yeah, it's a little patchy. I could probably fix that, but yeah, not too bad. It's kind of pleasant. There's lots of free grasses and flowers and things like that. I don't think I've ever used this one in particular before. It looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. So I have it on erase mode. Paint. Fill in some of the bald spots over here. But all this painting with the foliage tool is kind of like time consuming, I guess is one way of putting it. Also, you know, if you miss an area, then you have to like come back in and like tweak it and things like that. So it'd be a lot easier if you could just have the thing do it for you automatically, right? And then we're gonna erase you. You're actually not foliage. Okay. Okay. That's looking pretty nice, I think. You know, and you can do all this stuff manually. It's kind of a pain. So the clean building in the midst of a wildflower wonderland is hella sus. Okay. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a new foliage landscape grass type like this, and this will be called like auto grass foliage thing. Save. Okay, and so what I did again was I went to the build directory and just went right click foliage landscape grass foliage, and what this is you can add plus like this to it, and so you can add different kinds of grass, and it'll sort of spawn those kinds of grass. And you can have 1 in there, you can have 500 in there. I've gone kind of ham with it before and kind of killed my frame rate by just spawning so many flowers and grasses everywhere that my poor 3090 was like, no more flowers. No. It's too painful. So, and so basically, yeah. So you create the thing, click plus a bunch of times. I'm just gonna do, I don't know, we'll do some grasses. We'll do some dark green grass, and then we'll do some like fresh green grass, and the density is like how much of it's going to spawn. And a lot of times the density is way too high. Like it's actually like ridiculously dense for most purposes. So I'm going to cut it down to like 100, and that's still probably going to be too much. 100, and then I'm going to slap some flowers on here. And then you can do all sorts of cool stuff also. Like you can have it randomly jitter the height and the rotation of the grass. So for example, scaling, you can say lock XY, 0.9 to 1.1. And so the scale of the flower will be a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller. And the Z, which is the height of the flower, you can scale even more if you want. Is it going to crash? Are you crashing? Are you crashing? Okay. Not today, Death. Not today. So you can have it so when it automatically generates the grass, some of them are taller, some of them are shorter. Does it all for you for free. Placement jitter, start cool distance, end cool distance. That's how far away the grass is when it vanishes. And this is actually like a problem because you can see 100 meters, you know? And so what happens is that this is set to 100 meters right now, is that you're walking and just like grass will just like appear. And as you're walking, just grass just appears. Like there's just nothing and there's grass. And it's kind of you need that for like performance reasons, but it's really janky looking. So depending on how good your graphics card is, you might want to tweak those values. I'm just going to leave it to default. Aligned to surface, you saw how like when the grass was like sticking out of the Centurion, it was like at an angle like this. So you can choose to have the grass always be sticking straight up, or you could have it growing out of like a hillside, right? So you can see here, you see all the grasses like this. You know, it's kind of weird. I don't know. I'm not really sure which one I like better. You know, they both kind of have their strengths and weaknesses. So you can see, yeah, this is aligned to the surface, so they're growing at a weird angle. I don't know. Where was I here? Density, grid, random rotation. Random rotation's nice. Okay. And I'll just leave the other ones on default, and then I will put in some flowers, maybe some red flowers. Turn the density down. Some white flowers. Turn the density down. Let's see what else we got here. Is that it? Not too many other options. Okay. I guess yellow flowers. Okay. Turn the density down as well. So what we're doing here is we're creating a grass foliage asset that kind of tells Unreal Engine, like, if you apply it to a landscape, what proportion. And these densities don't all have to be 100, by the way. Like, you can make the yellow flowers like 10. And then they're going to be 10 times more rare. So when it's like randomly rolling what to put, You can have like yellow flowers be rare and red flowers be like, I don't know, semi-rare, and white flowers be common, like, however you want to do it. Like you can adjust all these relative weights and things like that. And then we're going to do called a sample. Simple, no. Okay. So, landscape layer sample. Okay. Hook that up. And I'm going to have the grass just auto spawn on the road because my auto material is already covered in hand painted grass. So I'm going to show you what auto grass looks like. So right now, the road is just right here. It's just wide open. There's no grass on it, right? So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to choose. I have to type it in precisely. Road. Hit save. Let's see if that works. It's thinking. It's a good sign. There we go. You see that? So now everywhere you spray paint the road, it'll automatically create grass. And the grass density is not thick enough, honestly. You can see here, like the yellow flowers are more rare than the red, and the red are more rare than the white. So whatever weights we put in there, it's kind of patchy looking grass. Let's make the grass 400 maybe. Save, and then you see that the thing automatically fills in quite thick grass now, right? So it's a road, but it's grass. And so if I were to come over to the landscape paint thing here, and if I were to start painting roads on things, you see how the grass just automatically generates? Yeah? Kind of cool, right? So wherever you have your material, then the grass will just generate there. So I'm actually going to switch this all around. So rather than the road being covered in grass, it looks pretty nice, honestly. I'm going to have the auto material generate grass. Then I'm probably going to delete all the handmade grass on us. Landscape materials. So rather than having it appear on you, I'm going to choose auto material. And so all it takes to make grass automatically appear is you do a sample, once again, sample landscape layer sample there, and then you attach it to a grass output node like that. And so you can have the road have one. Actually, I don't think you can do this. I think it's going to yell at you. Yeah, it's gonna yell at you. Yeah, you can't actually have two different output nodes. You have to do this instead. So if you have different like grass foliage types, you can add another one. I'm actually just gonna use the same one. No, I can't. All right, let me make another one real fast. Auto grass foliage 2. And Autograss 2 is just going to have a little bit of grass. Very patchy, occasional grass. Okay. And what I'm going to do is a landscape sample for ROAD. And the name of this one is going to be like grass road. Grass. Okay. And so you can only have one grass sample in your entire blueprint. That's that's why I was saying this isn't going to work, because you can only have one grass output node per material. And so you have to click on the little plus sign here and have different grasses attached to different things. And so now you can see the road has some very patchy grass on it automatically, and the entire rest of the world is just absolutely blanketed in flowers and grass. You can feel my frame rate dipping as kudzu covers the world. Now here's what I was telling you about the culling distance. You see this harsh line right here? That's 100 meters away. As I walk forward, you can see grass just sort of like expanding to cover the whole thing, like kudzu. So some of the cliff faces are maybe not. No. Basically, by the time we get here, they're pretty much covered. So you can see this. The hand spray painted stuff is still there, but the auto generated stuff has a culling distance that yeah, and my frame rate is not happy with me right now. My graphics card is, the fans have turned on. That's your dream, except you prefer tropicals. Yeah, and you can find assets for like everything. Like there's so many different grass and like flower and foliage things out there. Like just in my thing here, I've used this one before in other projects. It has kind of like cartoony trees and things like that. Has some issues though. Let's see. Procedural nature pack. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's got. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. It's a spline-based system. Oh, that's super neat. I like that. You know, like streams and things. Yeah. Anyhow, so yeah, there's tons of assets available. This is going to just like kind of murder my systems. What am I going to do about it? Grass foliage. First of all, I'm just gonna do that one. I'm just gonna disconnect it. There you go. So I'm gonna just have hand painted foliage for now. I don't like that. Foliage tool, erase. This looks all right. And you can still see I've got my auto-generated grass on the road, so it's just kind of putting some little patchy grass on here. It's a little too healthy, I think, for the dirt. You know what I mean? Like it's like on dirt like this, like the grass should be dead. You know what I mean? Or dying. So let's see if I can find a more dead kind of grass. I'm gonna try this one. Save. Yeah, that's a little better looking, I guess. Kind of dead grass, and it's a little too tall too, I think. So come to here. Uniform free lock. Scale this down. And so yeah, there we go. You see that? So I made the Z scale like really flat. So you got like these just like little patches of dead grass on it. They're not really like sticking out because it's kind of weird for the grass to like stick out like that when it's just in the middle of a road, because people walk on it and they crush it down. So you can see some of them are a little taller than others. That's because of the random nature I put in from point 1 to point 2. Grass density, random rotation, line to surface. Yeah. All the rest of that looks pretty good. We got, it's kind of yellowish grass, and so we're good. I'm kind of happy with how that turned out. So our road, rather than just being like a super basic like road. It now has just some like little patches of dry grass on it. I could probably, I don't know. Let's see. Let's try it. Maybe. I don't know. Very occasional patches of grass on it. I'm not sure what looks better, you know, because these things look a little unnatural because they're dead and they're moving in the wind. Probably happy with that. Let's play the game, see how it looks. So the area around here looks pretty nice, actually. Nice and lush. Okay. Then I make it to the road over here. And you can barely even see the grass, which is probably good. Yeah, it's like, there's grass. I don't really like it moving like that. It looks quite unnatural for dead grass to be moving like that. Probably get a different asset. But, I mean, that aside, like it looks, like, what do you guys think? Like, I think it looks like pretty decent. And so this is, again, like I've spray painted a layer onto my world so I can manually like add, you know, roads and things like that. And then it just generates grass on that area. The grass up here was all hand painted by me. I'd probably want to take this off. It looks kind of weird. It's like growing at an angle like that. But yeah, overall not bad. Okay. So let's just clean up the grass and call it a day. Go to foliage, erase. And I'll just clean up this whole side a little bit because it does look a little weird. And you don't want to necessarily have a straight line. Like nature very rarely draws straight lines. Like something like that's just gonna like leap out of the user. I don't want to have anything like that where it's not like obvious that a human hand was there. Break up straight lines is always a good idea. Clean up all this. I don't know why we got like one ball of grass over here. Clean that up. Okay. Looking pretty good, I think. We got like some dry, dead California hills with some inexplicable grass and flowers growing here. There must be a lot of water here. Oh, yep, there it is. There's the water. That explains why we can afford to have such bounteous grass here. One of the weirdest things for me when traveling to places that get rain is that like they're just it's completely unexceptional to just have grass, you know. Like I'm like, man, who's paying for all the water on that grass? You know, so there must be a multimillionaire here to have just all this grass. And like, what are you talking about? It just grows. Like the rain and the sun, there's grass. You know, I'm like, oh, weird. Where I'm from, like it takes a lot of work and a lot of money to just get a little patch of grass going. So the dry dead California hills. I mean, you know, if you ever traveled, you know, it's the golden hills of California, you know. So it's maybe because of the gold. It's really because they're gold colored because they're dead. If you ever traveled up near Sacramento and things like that, it does not look like this. It looks like this. Okay. I think there's an incentive in Fresno to replace it with grass. Yeah, I thought about doing that. Grass is kind of pleasant, though. You know, it's kind of cooling. I don't know. It's hard to say. Unreal looks 10 times better than anything you've done in Unity. Yeah, it's pretty cool, and these tools are pretty neat. They're not too hard, I don't think, to understand. Your homework assignment is going to be basically doing this. I posted, like I said, a video that I found of running through like making a master material for a landscape. There's other stuff like having a height blend so you can have like snow. Like the top of the mountains could be snow. Stuff like that. But yeah. Your dad lives in New England, there's just trees and greenery everywhere. Yeah. Playing grass, it's nice, and just put out a picnic blanket. It's all soft and stuff. I don't know. Just don't touch grass because you're allergic. Yeah. I was in Ireland a few years ago, and this guy's front yard had like a tree stump on it, and there was like a little pool of water in it. It was just super beautiful. It was like all covered in moss, and it was just this like reflecting little pool of water in the stump. I'm like, oh man, it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. So I get out my camera and I'm like photographing this stump, and this guy comes out. He's like, "Why the hell are you looking at my stump?" I'm like, "It's beautiful, man. I don't tell you. I'm sorry." Why are you staring at my stump? It's just a stump. Just the guy who owned the house. He's like, "Why is this random tourist?" Like, he chopped the tree down, he hadn't pulled the stump out yet. He's like, "Why is this guy staring at my stump?" I'm like, "It's so beautiful. Like, there's all moss. It's like water, It's so pretty." You stumped on that one. That's good. Yeah. Americans. Okay. So that's it for today. Your job is to build a master material for landscapes and do a grass output node. Paint. So master material with a WAB, world align blend with layers of the grass output node. And that's a really nice way of getting your world kind of up to speed, like pretty quickly. Like, I'm not super happy with how this landscape here looks. It doesn't go well with the grass. Like, I would probably want to make it more green if I was going to have this much grass here. Like, just thematically, it doesn't work for me. But I think overall, you can see, like, if you had to go in and spray paint all these things, you'd be there forever, right? Instead, you can just let Unreal, like, generate all the texturing for you, and it's just really nice. It's just very quick to get up to speed. Have something that looks pretty decent. You got to factor in your light. There's going to be more grass and flowers, so there's better sun. Yeah, it's true. Like, if you got an indoor area, you probably don't have any grass. But okay. All right, so that's it for today. Hope you all had a good time. Thanks for coming out, and you guys are doing really great in this class. I have to say, I've been very impressed with the work you've been doing. So keep up the good work, and I'll see you next time. All right, thanks, everyone. Have a crushtastic day.